For my Module 6 exam video, I chose prompt 6.2, the hypothetical development network. In looking at the question, we can notice that all of the components in this wild-type cell work to effectively produce spikes. Before diving into the mutant cells, let's establish what everything means. The sideways T signals a block in the sequence, meaning that the next component is not produced, so it is not able to do its job. However, when there is an arrow present, the next part is effectively expressed. Something that helps me in remembering this is that I equate the sideways T to a red light and the arrow to a green light for each specific part in the sequence. For the given wild type, all factors play a role in whether or not spikes are produced. First, we start with S. S is effective in producing P, which in turn blocks I. Because I is blocked, it cannot do its job in blocking K because it is not present. Therefore, K is present and effective in producing E, which is the key component in whether or not spikes are produced. In this case, they are. In looking at mutant cell P,
nothing is able to produce P, therefore I is not blocked. This means that I is able to block K, therefore E is not produced and spikes are not present.
For I, it is not produced, so it is not effective in blocking K. This means that K is able to be produced and is effective in producing E as well. Because of this, E is able to do its job and produce spikes. For this example, there are two components to this mutant cell, which makes it a bit trickier. There are two parts not produced, I and E. Although we thought it may be tricky, it's actually simple in this case. E is the one component we need in order to produce spikes, and because it is not present here, spikes are not either. For this example, S and K are both absent from the sequence. In looking at the double mutant cell, it is helpful to determine outcome of spikes in looking at the component lastly affected, which in this case is K. Because K is not present, it is not able to produce E, which is what we need for spikes. So the spikes are not produced from the absence of these two components in the cell. To answer this question, we first need to go back and look at the most basic form of life, a cell. Each cell type in our body contains a different set of active genes, which can lead to a different set of proteins. What allows each cell to effectively perform its job is the information it receives from inside and outside of the cell. One example of this is a transcription factor binding to the cell. It sends the cell information such as mRNA splicing or division of the cell into different proteins. This allows the cell to produce different phenotypes. This is most notably seen in our earlier examples of mutant cells. For instance, the wild-type phenotype carries all of the components to produce spikes. However, in the case where we removed I, spikes were still not produced, even though certain proteins were absent.